Hey man, what's happening, man? This is your host, Most Great Day, Late Dallas Short News, live and direct. We'll ride for respect. Smash the like, the share, the subscribe. All that old good stuff so you be tuning in to the latest and the greatest. Hit that notification bell so you be notified every time I drop, and you can tap in and tell a friend. Excuse me. And on today's topic, we're talking about how not to trick yourself out of your own position and how to use critical thinking. Critical thinking is an art of the past nowadays. You know, you got the crash out culture. Everybody want to take things into their own hand instead of using their mind to navigate them through this wicked times and days in life, man. It's been an uptick in people getting killed in road rage incidents, people being unalived on buses and trains and airplanes, and it's a mess, man. And I'm gonna give you an example how I tricked myself out of my own position, right? I was working for this corporation, this company, me and my co-workers who aren't my friends. I did a video on how co-workers aren't your friends, man. Y'all can go check that out. I'm gonna leave it in the post, and I might link it in my description. But anyway, we had a cool little thing going on. I was an industrial painter for this big corporation, and sometimes the boss would find little bungalows and stuff for us to duck off and, you know, go take naps and chill, and they would go off on lunch and do what they did on their lunch break, you know. Me and the boss was all right. He actually would pick me up for work sometimes, man. You know, but one particular day, we were lounging. He found a spot for us to go sleep at on top of this roof. He got the boom lift, and we all went up to the top of the roof, and we went to sleep, man. And when I woke up, everybody was gone, and I felt like that was kind of odd. I felt like that was kind of strange. And he had told my coworkers, allegedly, he say, she say, you know what I'm saying, ho say, that I was an N-word this and leave him up there and this, that, and the third, according to them. So they tricked me out of my, well, excuse me, I tricked myself out of my position by listening to this rhetoric, listening to this foolishness, and taking it upon myself to confront my boss without any evidence to conclude that that this was even true. I got at him foul, I got at him disrespectful, and they said that they would be on my side, and that they would go to the labor board with me and be witness that this man was racist and he left me on the roof and da-da-da-da, this, that, and the third, right? None of that was the case, to my knowledge. I jumped out the window. I tricked myself out of my position. I was making a pretty good penny over there at that job that I was at that particular time. And I was just going off of my emotions, man, because I really believed in what they were saying. And that's the case for a lot of individuals out here, man. Playing yourself out of your position, listening to he say, she say, letting people drag you into battles that you need to fight on your own, that you need to pick your battles wisely, but you'll let somebody else pick the battle for you. You dig? And that's a prime example of how you trick yourself out of your position. Joining the gang, you tricking yourself out of a position, and you are in a position of holding a hive mentality. See, you know, I found out when I went to jail, man, that some of my so-called ops, man, wasn't really the op. You dig? Some of my so-called ops had more love for me than my so-called homeboys. You dig? But my alliance to the gang wouldn't allow me to speak to these dudes or be cool with these dudes, you know. But up in jail, we had to be cool together. So that's you tricking yourself out of your position, joining the gang, because now you can't network with people from other sides of town. You know, you might have some love interests, or you might have some bread over there, or you might, you know, want to do some whatever type of business you want to conduct on a certain size of towns. You can't do that because you're limited to your resources because you're in a gang. You know what I'm saying? So don't trick yourself out of your position by joining a gang, man. It's foolishness. You know, like I said, it's a hive mentality. If they aren't cool with something, you gotta not be cool with something, and you might want to be cool with something, man. Especially if it's some bread involved, man. You did. Just don't do it, man. Going to prison is another example of tricking yourself out of your position, because it's definitely in most cases it's a choice, man, for you to be locked up and incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Stay out of them situations, man. You know, that's the best, one of the best ways you can trick yourself out of your position is going to prison, man. You think about all that time lost, all the relationships that you've lost, and all of the people that you know, time changes people, man. You know, the relationship you could have built with your kids, you know, different family members, you know, your siblings, you know, things of that nature, man. You tricking yourself, man. You know, ain't nobody sticking a gun to your head and telling you to do these foolish things to land yourself in a predicament that you don't want to be in, man. That's an example of tricking yourself out of your position, man. But hey, this is your host, Most the Great, Day Lake Dollar Short News, live and direct, where we ride for respect. You know, I'm at the office. I just decided I'd drop a video on y'all, man. Sorry I left you. We out!